Okay. Vito. Let me show y'all boys where I'm from, man.
Hey, what it do? Still with the camp, shine like a big boss, K-Po, talk boxing. Fuck my soliloquy. No times don't last, good people do know for sure. Call them if I like, maybe matter. Peak game, ready for us real smart. Saturday, I'm going to John Hercules Torres fight. He's fighting Scruggs. He got a good scrap. I used to spar John Hercules Torres. He, like I told y'all, man, when I first got in boxing, that's the first person I sparred. But he beat the out. You know what I'm saying? Hey, boss give it 1,000, man. When you sparring these pros, man, these pro boxers, I was sparring pro boxers coming into the game. You know what I'm saying? So, dude cold, man. So y'all look out for John Hercules Torres, fight at 168. But let's talk boxing. Teofimo López, Shakur Stevenson. The fight is announced. It's finalized. Okay. Shakur has reposted it. It's gonna be late January, and looks like it's gonna be in Madison Square Garden. I think that's good. Finally Shakur gets an opportunity to show that he's on this level. I honestly think Shakur got more to prove. I think his back on against the wall to kind of show that he's on this level. I'm not gonna lie to you, because he do a lot of talking, and a lot of people give him a lot of praise, based off of hype, right, and what they think he can do, right, instead of what he's done, what he's proven. You know what I'm saying? And I think that Shakur definitely has the skills. You see it to be something great. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he hasn't shown it against big names or top tier competition. Some people might say, "Oh, it's because they don't want to fight him." I don't think that. I think that Shakur is not really putting in that effort. Right, he talking about it, but he's not really putting in the effort to make sure these fights get done. This is the first fight where I've seen him really go all in on, you know what I'm saying, and try to get the fight done, and it's a big fight, you know what I'm saying? So I think that, because, Devin Haney, he had his toe in the water with that one. They made him an offer, and he was like, I know my worth. It's like, nigga, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, what are you talking about? So, I was like, yeah, nah, he ain't for real. That's what kind of made me, like, look at him a little differently, because I'm like, bro, you ain't for real, my bro. Like, they made you an offer, and I know my worth. Boy, turn his nose up. I know my worth. What? Bro, take that fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you talking about? So, I don't know. But, like I said, I think that, I definitely think that Shakur got more to prove, right? He got to show they on this level. Teofimo has knocked off guys on this level. He knocked off Josh Taylor, who's a former undisputed champion. He beat Lomachenko, right? So he got names, and he beat guys, when they were looked at as the guy, right? Nah, he's also lost. You know what I mean? He got beat by George Kambosos, right? Who was kind of like people look at him as like a gatekeeper, right? But it happens in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Styles make fights. But, it all depends on Teofimo's mental. You know what I'm saying? I think that it all depends on how he coming to the fight. It's either going to be a dominant performance by Teofimo or a dominant performance by Shakur. That's what it boils down to. Right? I think the most athletic person that Shakur has ever seen is Edward De Los Santos. Right? So now he's getting in here with a Teofimo who's very athletic, has beat top names, and has some good decent resume. So Shakur don't have marquee names on his resume, right? So he got his back on the wall, in my opinion, right? But I think Shakur wanted this fight because he's motivated by his big brother, Terrence Crawford. That's my brother. I love him. He got me right for an hour. I will never go against Terrence. I love him. That's Shakur Stevenson. That man, he love everybody. You know what I mean? He start talking about his brothers. This my brother. That's my brother. Hey, brother. I love you, brother. I love you, Brody. Yeah, let's work together, Brody. Let's spar, Brody. Like, bro, stop doing that, bro. Stop talking like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you can what's understood don't need to be explained. You ain't gotta say all that. He that's why I say the man emotional, bro. He be openly, I love you. Brody. Yeah, he like, bro, what the world? Hey, yo, pause, nigga. Hell you got going on, bro? What y'all got doing? What y'all doing? You good, bro? You know what I'm talking about? Like, what y'all doing, bro? You feel me? I don't understand, like, what y'all got going on. It's weird. Stop. You know what I'm talking about? But, it's a very, I say this. Is it a very good fight? I like the fight, right? Does it make sense? No, and I'm going to tell you why it don't make sense. Because, yet again, it's one of those situations where it's like, if Shakur wins, he's made it known, I'm going to drop the belt. Because y'all know that Keyshawn is ranked #1 in the WBO, right? The same belt that Teofimo López has. So, if he wins the belt, he's just gonna drop it and go back down to 35, right? So it's like he's not gonna stay at 40 and try to fight big fights or fight Keyshawn Davis. He ain't gonna do that, man. He gonna drop the belt. He made it known. I'm gonna drop the belt and go back down to 35, right? So it's like, that's my thing, like, with the fight. That's the only gripe I got with it. Like, he's not like he gonna go up there and start fighting Guaranton Russell, Super Matias, and Richardson Hitchison. Like, you know what I'm saying? And him and Richardson Hitchison are cool, right? So, we can erase that. But all I'm saying at the end of the day is, like, that's my only gripe. As far as just the fight itself on the surface level, I like it because of the fact that, it's an opportunity for Shakur, right, to get a name and to basically try to, show that, he on that level. You know what I mean? So we shall see what he does. You know what I mean? It's about time, because, Shakur is approaching 30 and he ain't got no marquee fights, right? But he wanted the Tank fight, though. He keep calling it. He want that Tank fight. He like, yeah, Tank. He want that Tank fight. And I'm like, bro, there are other fighters out here. There's a dude, that's your friend named Keyshawn Davis that you can fight. There's a dude named Abdullah Mason, Raymond Mortaya, Andy Cruz. There's other fighters out here. You know what I mean? And I get it. Y'all like, oh, but why does Tank get a pass? Tank not getting a pass. But you giving him shine when you sitting there and you talking about him, right? We just keep it 1,000. Why give this dude shine when you sitting there talking about him, right? You're talking about him every chance that you get. You sitting there, you do an interview, you talking about Tank, right? It's crazy. You do an interview, Tank get brought up, you talking about him, right? You charging up Steven Espinosa about Tank, right? When we all know, if you really wanted that fight, you would have went over there or put yourself in a situation where you could get that fight. You don't go sign with Eddie Hearn, who don't have no dealings with PBC or dealings with dang near any promotional company in America, right? We just being real. Eddie Hearn, he don't have a good business relationship with a lot of these promotional companies here, because he talks down on them, right? Instead of him being like, okay, look, I respect you. You never heard PBC say anything bad about any other promotional company, right? You don't hear them do that, right? But you hear Bob Arum talking down on Al Heyman, Oscar De La Hoya talking down on Al Heyman, Oscar De La Hoya talking about Dana White and Eddie Hearn, Eddie Hearn talking bad about Oscar De La Hoya, Bob Arum talking bad about everybody. He don't care. He on his own. He a Jew. You know, F everybody, Top Rank versus everybody. Oscar De La Hoya, he don't know what he's doing. He's a schmuck. Okay? Then you got Eddie Hearn. He don't know nothing about boxing in America. He needs to stay in the UK. I'm telling you, bro, that's you see what I'm saying? Instead of developing a rapport. Like, look, man, I feel like my company is the best, right? If I'm a promoter, I feel like my company is the best. But we talking about business, right? We got to have a good business relationship in order to make this fight happen. So let's make this fight happen, right? I'm still going to be on my own buddy head and be like, hey, man, look, I feel like I'm the best promotional company in boxing, yada, 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 yada. But at the same time, hey, man, let's do this business. Let's do this the right way. It's about promoting. Let's put money in each other's pocket, right? Because I'm pretty sure these NFL owners and NBA owners, and they don't like each other, bro. But when it come down to business and it come down to upholding the sport, they gonna work together. And that's what they need to do in boxing, right? But Eddie Hearn drew lines in the sand. Bob Arum drew lines in the sand. De La Hoya drew lines in the sand, right? They coming together because Turkey came here, and Turkey shaking the game up, so they have to work together. That's why you see Bob Arum and PBC put cards together, right? You see Bob Arum send his fighters to Pro Box, and Pro Box, they putting cards together, right? So you're starting to see stuff like that, right? Primarily because Top Rank don't have a network. But at the same time, now, because of the current landscape of boxing, right, because they politics so much, now boxing is what it is today, right? If they would have worked together, right, you probably would have still had PBC on Showtime. Top Rank would have still been on ESPN, and the list goes on. But, when you start politicking and doing all this, that's what happens. But to get back on topic, we shall see, man. I'm very intrigued to see how Shakur is gonna deal with Teofimo, right? A lot of people feel like Shakur will box circles around Teofimo, and I just don't see that happening. You know what I'm saying? I see where Shakur can win the fight, but I think this is a close fight either way. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you look at both of them. Now, if somebody gonna knock somebody out, I think Teofimo can knock out Shakur, right? But overall, truthfully, right, and I'm speaking truthfully about that, I'm saying if a knockout happens, it's gonna be from Teofimo knocking out Shakur. But I would say a knockout happen. I think it's gonna be a close fight. I think it's gonna be one of those fights where it goes to the scorecards, and it might be they might need to do a rematch. I'm just keeping 1,000 with you. You know what I'm saying? So we shall see, man. It's some things that I see Teofimo can't do well, like he can't cut the ring off. So that might be an issue. You know what I'm saying? Because Jermaine Ortiz really, like, I feel like Jermaine Ortiz beat Teofimo López. I ain't gonna lie to you. They be doing Jermaine Ortiz dirty, because I feel like Jermaine Ortiz, it's another fight. I think it's the Lomachenko fight, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, where I feel like he beat him too. But boxing politics. But all I'm saying at the end of the day, to keep it 1,000, keep it chill, coming down, working with Will, is we got the fight. The fight is done. I'm very interested to see how, they're gonna basically deal with each other's styles. How is Shakur, well, I got an idea how Shakur, but how is Shakur going to deal with Teofimo? I got an idea, but we got to see it in the ring, right? So, it's a good clash on styles. You got a very good explosive Teofimo López. You got a defensively responsible Shakur Stevenson. You know what I mean? We shall see. And can his hands hold up? Right? That's the ultimate question. Can his hands hold up? Will his hands be able to hold up in said fight in order for him to basically do the things that he need to do to beat a Teofimo López? You know? That's the questions I have. Y'all let me know in the comment section. I'm kind of excited, but then, like I said, for the reasons, there's another side of me like, man, if Shakur win, he just fighting Teofimo for the name. You know what I mean? It's really not about, you know, a legacy to me. I mean, in a sense, I could see them trying to push that angle, but at the same time, it's like, to me, it's like he just fighting Teofimo just to fight him. He not fighting Teofimo to compete up there. He not fighting Teofimo to, you know, he just fighting him, you know what I'm saying, because he a name. You know what I mean? So, that's what I think, right? I think he just want a name, and he watching Terrence, and he's like, oh, I want my own. I want that story. I want that story like Terrence had, where, you know, I go fight everybody. And me personally, and I could be wrong, and y'all hear me out, I could see Shakur taking a loss. I don't know who is to, but I could see him taking a loss, right? And I think that loss is gonna revitalize him, right? I think he gonna have kind of like I did to Jamel Charlo, where he like revitalize him. I think I could see Shakur taking a loss. Y'all may get mad, y'all may get upset, but I can see him losing. I don't know to who, right? Because, you know, Tank finna retire. Because that's for sure a loss. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think he got nothing for Tank as far as keep. He's defensively responsible, but how you gonna keep that nigga off of you? Right? That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? How you gonna keep him off of you? You know what I mean? That's just what it is. Defensively, he can frustrate Tank, but you gotta let your hands go. You gotta keep him off of you. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't see him doing anything to keep, you know, Tank at bay. You know what I mean? So, but we shall see though. You know, y'all let me know what y'all think. Shout out to Shakur. Shout out to Teofimo López for getting this done. Boss go.